About 3 months ago, we installed this roof system here on this Sprinter from Flatline Van Company, and it's been a very great roof. So in this video today, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the complete install, including the ladder. And I also have attached a light bar, which I'll show you guys at the end. Some rack lights, the kids helped out. And this is a longer term review, so make sure you guys stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to Random Fix. So yes, we have installed the roof and I'm ready to go ahead and install the deck. So in this video, we're going to show you guys the complete install, including the ladder and some tips along the way. And before we start the video, just know this video is a little bit longer. So if you want to save time or you need to see a certain component, such as the ladder, I have chapters here. So go ahead and utilize the chapters and make sure that you guys give the video a thumbs up. I really do put a lot of time and effort into these videos. And I don't just push them out. I honestly review this stuff, and I do it a little bit more long term, because when you're working with a van and you install a subpar component, it is really hard to undo, and doing something on top of the roof is not fun. So that's why I didn't publish this video right away, is I wanted to make sure that the quality of this standard roof was just like the previous one. So go ahead and utilize those chapters. In this video, we're going to be installing the Flatline Van Company ladder here. So we're going to go ahead and open up the box and take a look at what's inside. We got the van all set up. I got 2 ladders because I'm installing the standard 170 extended roof with the flare. And I'm doing this on OEM rails. So if you are using your OEM rails, make sure you guys check out this video, because I'm going to show you guys how to get around this limiting pin down here. At the front, there's a combiner back here. And with the VanTech roof rail, you will not have this issue. So make sure you guys stick around and let's take a look at what's included here. This is our second time using Flatline Van Co. And we are always impressed with the quality of the finished product. So all the hardware is included. And sheet metal screws to go ahead and attach it to the van at the bottom. We got some washers, thread locker. Sorry about the wind today, guys. We got a total of 8 joiner screws here, and this is where you want to use that thread locker. And we got the slide nuts, and also the bolts for the slide nuts are right here, and the tools to install the bigger bolts to the slide nuts are included. If your van is equipped with a Mercedes-Benz OEM roof rack, you are going to have a little bit more of a challenge, because you basically have to either remove the track, slide the nuts into place, because there's a limiting pin in the front right here, and there's caps, and then there's a joiner piece that joins the front and back. So this is going to be the joiner, and the nut cannot slide in there. So you want to make sure that you go and remove this before you start your install. So go ahead and undo all the 10mm nuts on the inside, and the roof rail just pops out. Now if your van didn't come with a roof rail, you want to get the VanTech one, because it just allows you to go and slide the nut around. In my scenario, I'm going to have to go measure, see how many nuts is going to be in the front section versus the back, and I can't just move the nuts around. Let's go ahead and show you guys what you need to do. I'm going to go and jump onto the other side, as I've already removed the passenger side. So this is going to be my OEM roof rail, and again, there's a joiner piece right there in the middle, and there's a cap at the end and a cap in the very beginning. This cap can come off once this is off here, but you do not want to try to do this without lifting this up, because it's on there pretty tight. However, it's possible with the right amount of force, and you potentially risk damaging the roof rail here and the paint. So another thing you can do is you can use an oscillating tool or maybe a Dremel and just cut and drop the slide nuts in, and that's a possibility. That's not something I want to do, as it may ruin the integrity of the roof rail here, and I don't like taking chances like that. So with everything loose on the inside, I am gonna just go and move this up. So basically this is all gonna come out. This is the joiner plate, and all I did is I used the pry bar tool to go ahead and lift up the front section. Once it's loose, it just slides out of here at the joiner plate, and this is what the joiner plate looks like down here. So I'll give you guys a good view. There's a little plastic cap right here, so you want to make sure you put that back, and the two forks are going forward. So that's the orientation, and the single dot is towards the back. And the seals on here, you want to make sure that you go and press these back in. Sorry about the wind, guys. Work all these seals down, clean them up, clean up the track, and use some rubbing alcohol around the hole, paint it, and then go through and put some butyl tape, and I'm going to put some butyl tape on the inside as well. So if you guys have the Mercedes-Benz OEM track, you're going to have to go and most likely remove it. As I stated earlier in the video, you could go and cut a notch, and honestly, if you want it done correctly, this is the right way of doing it. It's an extra hour and a half of work, but again, this is what happens when you go with the Mercedes method. And there's nothing that any designing company can do to go ahead and overcome this. So it is what it is. So I've gone through and cleaned the track, and then cleaned it with Windex. Now I'm using rubbing alcohol, and this is all clean. Now I'm going to take my trusty pen and cover everything else up. This is amazing. I'll leave a link to this in the video description box down below. Now we cut 12 strips of butyl tape, and we're going to go ahead and place this right over the hole, and we're going to leave the tape on here. We are back, guys. This is live. We are just going to do the same. We're going to clean this one. So now I am going through and making sure everything's seated back in the track, and I'm going to put this all back together, clean this up so we are going to get a good seal. And on the screen I'm going to display how many slide nuts you want on the back in case you are installing a ladder. And if you're not installing a ladder, then I will go ahead and show that as well. So it makes it a little bit easier for you guys, and you guys don't have to figure it out the hard way. Additionally, I'm going to leave 2 extra up here, so one on the forward rail and one on the back rail, so it is much easier to go through and use that for something in the future versus not having it. And if I don't use it, it'll be just tucked away nice and tight. So now we're going to go ahead and go up there and put this in place. So I got everything prepped. Seals are nice and tight. This is the back section. There's no limiting pin back here. And again, if you wanted to avoid all this, you could have just taken a hammer and popped this off, but you still would have had a problem at the combiner. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my slide nuts in place, and you want to put them in this long way. And I didn't think it was actually possible to slide this through here, but it looks like it's possible. So I'm going to go ahead and slide these over. Okay, so now I'm going to put 7 in the back on the driver's side. That'll keep them from moving. Now we're going to go ahead and just join this up, but do not push the front end all the way in. So we have the butyl tape, nice clean seals, and we're just going to let this kind of go down in there. That's it. And we're going to do the same for the front. Now I didn't want to do this on the roof as it's very windy today. So here's the limiting pin on the OEM roof rails, and if you have the VanTech ones, you don't have to worry about it. So obviously I got one slide nut going here, one going here, one going here. So that's the third one. This will be the fourth one. and this is where my ladder is gonna go. So I'm gonna need a 5th, and I'll put a 6th one here, and then I'm gonna just work my way back. So back here I'm gonna need 1 and 2. I'm gonna leave these extra because the ladder comes with 2. Normally the roof system here comes with extra 2 slide nuts, so you can go ahead and attach the filler piece in case you're not going to be using a side ladder. Then I got the 3rd one right here, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So this is going to be on the driver's side. So we got 7 plus 6, so 13. Alright guys, so we are ready to go ahead and install the roof. Zishan is going through and just finalizing, getting rid of all the butyl tape that was squeezing out of there after we took off the roof rails. But I'm glad that I'm able to help somebody out there. So do you really need to remove the forward piece? And the answer to that is no. So if you go ahead and remove the back piece with the Flatline slide nuts, you're not going to have an issue. That is awesome. I wish I would have known that, as that would have saved me a little bit of time. So maybe you just have to undo maybe 3 bolts and just work it in from the back. So let's talk about the hardware really quick. So these slide nuts are going to be used with these smaller Allen bolts, and when you put these in, they'll have that special locking washer. It has those little grooves, and then it has a washer, and then the slide nut. You obviously want to protrude the little nipple out away from the bolt, and these get used in the fairing and also in the rear spoiler. And let me show you guys really quick. So basically they go on the other side of this, and similar to the fairing, this basically will be used with the bars, and they get slid across. Then we have these bigger bolts with the 732 heads, and basically these will be used for the slide nuts, and these two have that same style locking washer up top. And then we have these 1/4 inch by 20 3/4 screws, and these get used to go and hold the fairing in place, as well as throughout the build for the crossbars. So basically they'll go into the ends right here, and that's how that goes and stays in place. And these are going to be flanged, so you're not going to need a washer on the outside. And as a pro tip, if you lose some hardware and you need to buy some replacements, make sure that it's stainless steel, as I have figured out from the past that it rests on you and you're going to have to redo this whole thing. So don't cheap out. Stainless steel is the only way to go for the exterior. And the same bolts that get used for the crossbars get put into those brackets. So if you guys notice those brackets, those are not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be actually on the inside. So it's supposed to be the flanged bolt, and then the panel, and then on the other side a flat washer and a nylon 11mm socket on the other side. So we got the one side on here. It's actually really easy to mount up once the roof rails are not in your way. And Zishan is just prepping everything on the ground. So he's got the slide nuts, the washer, and then he's going to put them into place. With the slide nuts installed is the easy part. Honestly, you can probably knock this out in about 20 minutes as far as putting up the sidewalls. If you want to get yourself a little helper, I'm going to get this up there. So this is the forward piece. You want to get this all the way forward. I have a pick nearby in case I need to fish anything out. My washer, my locking washer is up top. super handy up here. What do you got for us, Cyrus?
So here, this is a nut, and then a locking washer, and then a regular flat washer, and then you're gonna need a T-nut up here.
All right, so this is the order that we need to get everything in. So we got a sliding T-nut, we got the flat washer, and the locking washer, which has those little ribs, then the bolt. And you're gonna place 6 of these, 1 in each hole on the rear of this metal bracket, and you want to go and have everything on the underneath and just the slide nut up top. And another thing too is you want to make sure that the protrusion on this is going to be pointing up, and you want to have these loose. If they're tight, you're not going to be able to go and get this bar across, so leave everything a little loose. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and slide that in, guys.
Here, just loosen it a little. So you guys actually might have to loosen it just a little bit so it can at least not be exactly. Oh, that's a little too loose.
Now you want to go ahead and take one of the bars that comes with it. Comes with a bunch of bars for the 170 extended. Thread on the hardware just half a turn. You want to avoid this tip right here because it'll keep catching. So go ahead and use the other end. And once you get the first 2 done, it will line up and it'll be a lot easier. Just make sure the protrusion is up and that you can barely see the thread.
Since the T-nuts easily float around in this area, you do not want to tie them so you can still adjust it, but you can also tape them, which is a good way to make sure they don't get loose and just fly out of here. So you don't have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, so the heads really have moved on us a few times. Honestly, this is the most challenging part of this. So I wished either the bolt was longer, or maybe I shouldn't have used the other washer, but this is what the instructions call for, so I'm going to follow the instructions. But very well put together, and we're getting this done. All right, so he's putting the seal on the front fairing, the plastic part, and he's put the bracket on that side. He's got to add it here.
Okay, so here I'm installing this bracket. So you need this side to be facing out. And you're going to need this from the bottom. The washer on top, and then you're gonna need your nylon nut. So bolt from the bottom, since you want this flat side to be facing out like I said earlier. Washer on top again. And then this at the very tip.
Right side up, right?
Yep, right side up.
You're a pretty good van builder.
It's not me, it's just the instructions. I don't know really.
So you're saying Flatline Van Company has good instructions?
Really good instructions. Just sometimes on this one, I just got kind of confused. It was falling everywhere.
The fairing on this is honestly the most challenging part with adding this piece. Once you get past this, the rest is pretty easy. All right, buddy, I'll let you get back to it.
Okay.
Now we're gonna go ahead and attach the fairing to the front cover here with the trim all the way down. So we've gone through and put the bolts through, and it's gonna be this piece right there. Go ahead, lift up.
Okay.
Tighten up one of them. Tighten up the next one. Go ahead and tighten all that up. So the fairing is complete. Everything's tight and it's ready to go on to the rack.
If you weigh over 100 pounds, you should not go on top of your roof. And I'm telling you this because I'm 80 pounds, and trust me, this thing, if I let go, it literally pushes back up. So that's telling me that I'm still very heavy for this.
we have a little bit of a issue, so we have to go ahead and scoot this back to make a better seal. So to get the front seal on the flaring to sit, you want to move everything back. That's why you want to leave everything loose. And this should be flush right here. You don't want to tighten these too much, but you want to make them tight so everything gets passed and becomes level. Now we're going to go and work this, and he's going to go tighten that very first bolt up here so it does not move on us. Now this is really easy to go ahead and do. We're going to take the 8 bolts that are included, and we're going to put Loctite on them, drop into here, and this is the piece that slid in, the connecting rod. So slide it in, and if you do it the other way, it's fine too. Loctite, I'm going to use Loctite right here. Now we're just going to go ahead and hand tighten in there. Don't tighten down yet.
Oh, that one's on the red.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and just do a mock-up of the ladder on the other side. To attach the ladder to the van, we're going to use this bracket here, and it comes with some self-drilling screws. Now if you like self-drilling screws, you can use them. I don't. So I'm going to go and make a better connection, but you want to then attach the ladder using these 2 holes right here, here, and here. And I'll show you guys what it looks like after it's done. This is already included. Nylon nuts with washers and good hardware. So on the side ladder, I am installing the bracket here, and the bracket is attached right there to the rib of the van, and the provided screws just basically go in. They're actually bolts with the nylon nuts, and there's a washer in between. So now there's a really nice sturdy place for this. I've also gone through and marked the holes for this, as I'm going to use a few of their metal screws and then put 2 bolt and nuts at the end here. And let's go ahead and get to it. We're making the holes for this, so I went ahead and already marked the areas. I'm using a center punch to give me a nice start. And if I don't mention it, make sure that you spray this area or paint it after you're done. I'm going to be actually using spray paint. Now on the outside, I'm using 2 of my own pieces of hardware. Let me show you guys what's happening. So I used their hardware, 3 of the pieces. Again, I will paint this. I'm going to put in a bolt, washer, and on the other side a nut to go ahead and sandwich this in place. I'm going to do that on the 2 outer sides, and then I'm going to tie it all together right here and do the same over there. This is looking sweet. Guess what we got done, even though it was super windy? The ladder is in place. That looks sweet. Okay, so let me show you guys the final install. And I went through and painted that area, and I'm gonna go do a little more touch up. Everything's nice and secure, and let's take it up. Well guys, this wraps up the video for the ladder. The ladder is very easy. 2 bolts with the slide nuts up top into your rail. Hopefully you don't have to go through a big old ordeal, and you don't have the Mercedes-Benz OEM roof rails. If you do, I have a little shortcut, because I had to take the long way and discover there are some shortcuts that can be taken, but you just got to know what to do so you don't actually cause a water leak. Second, on the very bottom we have that bracket, goes into the rib, and the provided hardware is going to secure that bracket to the body. Then you're going to use that big template and make your 5 holes and use their hardware, or you can go ahead and get your own with nut and bolt and washers and locking washers, and make sure that piece is not going to move. So I used 3 of their metal drilling screws, and then I used 2 of my own nut and bolt, and then I combined it all together. And if you already have the Flatline standard roof, this is going to be a breeze. Now there's a couple of things I want to add to this video. So previously I had the low pro roof, and on that one I could install maybe 3 or 4 ladders. So on the standard roof it's a little different. I'm only able to install 1 ladder. So make sure that you guys are aware of that, and you want to make sure you get the straight ladder. Now if you go with the curved ladder around the wheel well, you might have a little bit of a challenging time fitting that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but this roof rack cannot be taken back any further. Sorry about the noise, my neighbors are doing spring cleaning, and I'm super happy to have a ladder here. The ladder that Flatline Van Company makes goes together really easy, has a total of 4 connections on each side of the ladder, and there's a connecting rod that runs back here. So go ahead and Loctite it, and you still have access to come around and tighten this up if you want to do that maybe after a couple of months, if you are worried about that. And overall, really easy to do. And I'm going to go and put the crossbars. I haven't put the back section yet because I wanted to verify it was not going to interfere with my camera and my digital rearview mirror. So for the standard roof here, if you're not installing the ladder, the amazing thing is that it comes with the filler already included. You still want to run those T slide nuts over there because these actually bolt into it, and this piece is already included. The wind was super bad. I had to stop early yesterday, and I was just doing a mock-up of how a light would fit in the front. And I'm so happy that I put in an extra nut up here, because this is going to allow me to do a little something that I want to do, which is to go ahead and close up this area if possible. So stay tuned for that, but we are going to go and jump back into the roof install. And the roof install, honestly guys, is pretty easy if you have the right roof rails in from VIDIQ, as I've done those before and they were a breeze. And they've really thought about everything in this roof system. So besides having all these great mounting holes here, I also have these here to go ahead and put my bar straight across, or use the fixed positions at these 2 points where I can use any place that I like, which is great. So if you notice now, the brackets are actually on the inside, and that's how they're supposed to be. So flange bolt, there's 4 of them, the panel, the bracket, a washer, and a nylon nut. Let me show you guys the rest of the hardware. So the same thing happens in the front here. We got 4 flanged bolts that go into the flaring here, and you want to push that up as much as you can because there's a seal in the front that you want to make sure is seated. And this deck is awesome. I was able to mount my own light bar right up there, and it was super easy. I couldn't believe how easy it was. It fit like a glove. At the top, the bars are 54.7 inches across, so I got a 52-inch light bar, and I went ahead and just turned the legs in, so it takes up even less space. As if I would have turned the legs out, I would have had to sandwich the legs. So really cool setup. I'll leave you guys a link to that. And then again, you want to go and put the brackets on the inside. That is the correct way right there. That is incorrect. Okay, now with the 10 pieces of hardware mounted, we're going to do the same thing as we did on the fairing and slide it down.
Oh,
Sorry
no.
about the tire here. And you got to pay attention to the roof rail here. One side has the notch, the other side doesn't. So we want the notch to be on the ladder side because it's easier to access. and I will show you guys orientation on which this goes in. But I love the roof rails here from Flatline Van Company. On the previous one I purchased, it didn't have these slots, so whenever I made a mistake I had to undo everything. On the new ones it has slots on all 4 edges, which is really great, but not on both sides. If they can do that, that make it even better. Now we're just going to go ahead and tighten that up. It's really hot out here, guys, but one thing that's really nice about the Flatline Van roof system is when I'm actually doing work on the van, it protects the roof. So I always use the rail, and so far I haven't damaged the roof. After we put this up, the rest is going to be pretty easy. The bars go in super simple. I'll show you guys that, but they just line up right here into the track. But this particular piece has a total of 4 holes that we need to pay attention to, and let's get this done. Make sure that you move your deck all the way forward, because that's all the clearance I have. What a precision built. This is gonna be sweet. How has the weather been this year besides windy?
Pretty much just windy.
Oh, did you hear what happened the other day?
No.
Somebody flew away. Let me put the rest of these flange bolts in, and it's really easy. I'm doing it by hand. I try to leave everything loose, as it makes it a lot less challenging when you're putting in the other roof rails, and they just go into here or here, and it's pretty simple after this. Once it's up, it's just going through and making sure everything is nice and tight. Alright guys, so the install is complete, and let me show you guys what I have done because of the Flatline Roof Company roof system here. So I have installed some lights so you guys can see those pot lights right above the ladder there. The lights are right there, guys, right above the ladder, and I have one in the back, so pretty cool. Additionally, because of the Flatline Roof Company roof system here, installing a light bar was really cool. I also installed the pod lights and also some bumper lights there. And if you guys want to check out a really cool gang switch with the wireless remote, I'll leave you guys a link to this video. So really cool looking roof. Let me go ahead and show you guys from the top so you guys can see what I've done. Okay, so we are on top of the roof here, and there's my light bar. To go ahead and get that in place, it was really easy. The roof system here actually has these cutouts on both tracks, as well as the front and also from the bottom here. So there's a total of 6 slots on each one you could run in, but it's only from one side. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And I used some T-nuts, just slid them in place and got the light bar to work, and it was really easy. It took about 5 minutes. And as you guys can see, I've made a box around my AC system because I'm actually putting a deck up here. And the only reason I didn't do this faster is because some of the components that I received from other vendors, not Flatline Roof Company, rusted on me. So I had to redo this whole thing. So the one thing I can tell you guys is Flatline Roof Company sells really good components. You guys notice there's no rust on their hardware. And this is my second roof system that I have installed from them. And the other one was the low pro roof. So there's a couple of things that I don't love about this roof. And as far as the roof system, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and give this an A-. And the only improvements that I see that can be made with this is gonna be the following. So one of the things is this particular roof system bows in. So if you look at the top, it bows in like that. So getting a bar in is a little challenging. So I have to go ahead and loosen up all the different bars here and get 2 people to pull apart and then do it. Around the ladder is a little bit easier because I can go ahead and snake it in here and pull it back and then lower it down. But if they made that improvement where this was actually straight, I think it would actually be a better design. And another thing that can be improved is the bars. These particular slots are only on one side, and 99% of the times I get it right, except for that very last bar up top. I went ahead and put the slot side on the passenger side, so it's not a big deal, but if they were on both sides, it would just allow for so much more flexibility. And in case you forget to put a slide nut in, if you're working with 80/20, it's just going to make the whole process that much easier. So I'll leave you guys a link to the deck install video so you guys can check out the deck and how easy it is to build. And I know Flatline Roof Company actually sells the deck components as well, so if you're looking for a prefab solution, that is definitely going to work. For my AC system, I am going to need to get something a little custom. And one other thing, on the standard roof, you're only able to get one ladder installed. On my previous build, I installed 2 ladders, and I really like the look of the 2 ladders. So some things to consider. And overall, guys, honestly, the Flatline Roof Company components are so solid. I've used their rear steps in the past, their roof systems, and all my feedback about them is positive, and they have really good customer service, and they rock. So thank you, Flatline Roof Company. So I really appreciate you guys watching today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little long, and I recorded this with the kids, so hopefully we got the right footage for you guys. And before I let you guys go, I just wanted to share with you guys where I'm at in the van build, because I'm a little bit behind on posting the videos. So yesterday I installed the bathroom. That was really cool, and I'm going to leave you guys a link to that video once it's edited. And today I installed the cabinets, and it's really looking good in here, and I like the look of this. I went for something a little bit different. I went with the modular design, so in case I get an accident or I ever need to service a panel, I can do within minutes. So a lot of the panels that I installed are just held in by 2 bolts, and they just slide down and out of the way. Anyway, thanks so much for checking out this video, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them down below, and I'll leave you guys a link to this particular roofing system and anything else in the video description box down below. Thank you again.